Hi there and welcome to the channel. I'm Slate and today we are back with Builder Champ. We are going to be looking at one of the OG marksmen in Watcher of Realms, and that is none other than Silas. So Silas is a single target marksman, part of the Piercer faction. He has this very basic attack range that's not very special. It's very standard, and you are able to get him in any of the normal summons. He is also one of the heroes that when you start a new account, it's like the first special banner, him and Vienna, because he is bonded with Vienna. And I will say this, that getting a Silas that is bonded completely changes the way that this guy works in terms of how good he is. Now, if you are just starting out, you can absolutely use an unbonded Silas, no problem. He will still help you. But from here on out, we're going to be talking about a bonded Silas. And that is because essentially when you are able to get Vienna, it unlocks the following bonus effect. And during the effect of Shadow Cloak, which is his ultimate, Soul Sniping, which is this special thing that ignores 50% of the target's defense, deals 100% extra damage, which is basically just a nutty amount of essentially pure damage. And yeah, so his basic attack is he's able to hit one enemy. He prioritizes airborne units. This manual is that it increases his damage by 60% all the way up to 80%, and each attack becomes soul sniping, which is this ignoring the target's defense. It also ignores magic resistance of the target for 15 seconds, and then it also goes up to 20 seconds and obviously comes down a skill cost. In the passive is that essentially he is able to get a damage boost if a unit dies within his attack range. And then his other passive is that basically if he hits the same target for 5 seconds, he inflicts this Eye of Curse, which will then trigger one time every 20 seconds, and it increases soul sniping damage by 50% against targets with the Eye of Curse. So essentially in boss fights, he is able to put up this Eye of Curse and nuke is the easiest way to describe it. So yeah, in terms of what content does he shine in, he's basically best known for his abilities in Guild Boss 1 and essentially boss content. He's very nice in APOC 1 and 2 if you're progressing. I haven't seen much of him in Matrix, but that's mainly because that's an AoE style piece of content. You can use him in Abyss. He is not obviously meta because the meta are a combination of Infernal, Watchguard, and Nightmare, essentially. Esoteric, not Nightmare. I mean, there are some Nightmare teams. Okay, but what am I trying to say? Yeah, you can absolutely use him. I have used him in my Abyss progression. And then in terms of where he is useful elsewhere, it's essentially he's fantastic in a range of PvE content when you are needing to kill a boss. With Gear Raid, you can absolutely try him in Gear Raid 1, but he will be very quickly replaced because of the fact he doesn't have AoE capabilities. But interestingly enough, in Gear Raid 2, he can get you all the way up to stage 19, 20, depending on how strong your Silas is. And also Gear Raid 3, he is absolutely fantastic at getting rid of the boss and carrying you through that. He's not very good in Gear Dungeon 1, and he can be used in Gear Dungeon 2 if you need him for nuking your physical bosses, but again, there isn't very much matter with that. AMR, he's really nice in all the way up to stage 18. You can then use him a little bit, but again, because the later stages are more AoE focused, he doesn't do as well. And then obviously all the way through campaign as well as Void Rift, he absolutely shines. In terms of awakenings, I would say that his Awaken 1 is nice. It increases attack speed by 100 during his ultimate, which is always nice. Getting him to hit more times is gonna do fantastic. His A3 is absolutely fantastic, and that is because it says that when there are more than 2 marksmen on the field, it increases the damage of the hero and 1 random allied marksman by 15%, which is a really nice way to boost another allied marksman on your team in boss content. And then again in his Awaken 5, this Eye of Curse, which already does a boost of damage, it also increases the amount of physical damage that is going to be received by the target by 15%. So that is really nice as well. And yeah, pretty standard on those ones. In terms of skills, absolutely worth skilling all the way up. I would definitely say if you're progressing, focus on getting the ultimate, and then you can go for his passives and then obviously his basic attack as well. Now, one of the things that's really interesting about his passive, this one here, which is Blood Pact, is the fact that his exclusive artifact, which we're going to go here, means that this passive can now trigger periodically instead of triggering upon an enemy's range and death, because it then means that this passive is actually able to be triggered during boss fights, because obviously during boss fights you don't typically have mobs, and so actually this becomes a really nice damage boost if you do have his exclusive artifact. The other artifacts that are really nice on him are Spirit Siphon when you are, again, in that boss content, and Bone Bow as well if you are in sort of more PvE content. You could obviously put him in a Nika Chalice if you were struggling with survivability, but to be completely honest, there isn't necessarily like a use case where I'd be like, oh, this is a very nice way to build Silas there. In terms of stat priorities, Silas is obviously a DPS, so you're going to be looking at attack, attack speed, crit rate, crit damage, that sort of thing. But the really interesting thing with a bonded Silas is because he ignores a huge amount of the enemy's defense, you're actually able to pump crit damage on this guy way more successfully than you can on other units that you might have, which I think becomes really important and really nice, because it then does mean that you can free up your attack pieces for other units that really need more attack in order to shine, and that we will show you a little bit later when we do a boss build that you can do. So in terms of gear for Silas, on the left hand side, in terms of progression, we're going to be looking at Annihilating Might and Calamity, and then moving into Warlord, and then obviously Wicked Vengeance is what I would consider best in slot. And then for the right hand side, I personally think Infernal Roar is absolutely fantastic. Now in terms of exclusive gear, in Cataclysm he does have a Piercer Ring that he can use, which is anti-air damage plus 8%, which is okay. I don't think it's necessarily the best. I mean, if you had fantastic gear, go for it. But he does also have an exclusive bangle. One second, I don't actually have a good one. So here he does have an exclusive bangle within Hell's Lamont, which increases damage of soul sniping to 160%. And obviously soul sniping is that really lovely ignore damage. And the ultimate here basically with Hell's Lamont is that it increases damage and crit damage by 50%, lasting for 20 seconds. And Silas's ultimate is where is it there? Oh no, it's here. Is 20 seconds long. So it will actually last for the entirety of his ultimate, which can be really nice. Actually, I think you could definitely try him in Hell's Lamont. I personally always seem to stick to Infernal Roar, as that has given me better results, but it will really depend on if you have good gear. If you have fantastic Hell's Lamont, definitely give that a try, but otherwise Infernal Roar. So this build here is going to be your boss killer build. Essentially, we are going for Wicked Vengeance on the left hand side, and then interesting enough, like I said, because of the amount of ignore defense that he has in his kit, you can get away with a double crit damage build on Silas. And actually I did some testing. I did him in all attack, all crit damage, and then combination of both, and actually a double crit damage build gave the best results, which was lovely. But I would say that you still want to make sure that his attack is double. So basically with this being 4,000, you want it to be at least plus 8,000. So if you aren't able to get that with a double crit damage, then do double attack with a crit damage. But yeah, essentially what this allows is it frees up your attack pieces for other parts of your team, which I think is really nice. And then in terms of an artifact, if you have his exclusive, it is able to basically work on bosses. It does this periodic trigger, and if it's over a level 13, it will have more. Well, basically the Eye of Penitence is similar to Spirit Siphon in terms of the amount of damage. From what I tested, a maxed out Spirit Siphon with a level 13 Eye of Penitence, but there is more RNG in the Eye of Penitence, so just keep that in mind. And also, obviously, as this improves, it will go more damage. But yeah, the Spirit Siphon is very nice. In terms of a progression build, I don't actually have it anymore, but the Volca storyline quest with the Doom is really nice, because obviously Silas is a single target marksman, and obviously the Doom increases single target damage, so that can be really nice. Essentially just put him on whatever gear. I keep saying broken is best, stats over sets, especially when you are progressing, but as soon as you can get him in something like Infernal Roar, definitely want to go for that. Now unfortunately I do not have a Hell's Lamont build to show you. So I'm just going to show you one other thing. If you're using Silas in other PvE that isn't boss content, I would recommend putting him in an all attack bonus rather than crit damage. You could use 1 crit damage if you needed, but that is because with the way that the game is coded, attack is still king. And if you are going to be using him in any kind of PvP content, you definitely want to make sure he is in all attack. He's not the best in PvE content, but he can definitely be used as you progress, especially in anti-air arena. Also very early days of GVG he was used, so if you are just starting out, you could definitely try a Piercer squad, but to be completely honest, he's not part of any of the modern day meta lineups. So basically, Silas is an absolutely incredible single target damage dealer, especially for physical damage. I think he has not got any worse as time has gone on because of this defense ignoring capability in his kit. It's just that single target marksmen aren't necessarily what has been needed in a lot of new content, or other magic dealers have actually been able to do really well. For example, he's often compared to a Hex. I think they are very similar. It's just that one is physical, one is magic. And so again, they are a fantastic powerhouse when you can combine them together. I would also say that he is a completely different hero when you do get his partner, which is Vienna. So definitely recommend going for that if you are looking for the pair, or don't get too discouraged if you don't have a Vienna yet and you're like, oh, why is my Silas so lackluster? It is probably because he is unbonded. But the other thing that I will say about that is just because you have an unbonded Silas doesn't mean you can't get some good use out of him, because he is still a really lovely single target damage dealer. So yeah, that is everything from me today. Do like and subscribe if you haven't already. Do let me know how you got on with your Silas. Did you get Vienna first or did you get Silas first? That is always the interesting question to ask. But yeah, that is all from me. Thank you so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you in the next video and the next live stream. So until then, take care and bye for now.